The Oklahoma Sooners needed a wide receiver out of the transfer portal, and they got their guy. So we're not going to bury the lead. The Oklahoma Sooners get a commitment from Jer'Michael Carter, the transfer portal wide receiver from McNeese State. If you guys remember, we talked about him earlier in the week. So today we got to break this down and talk about what this means for the roster this upcoming season for Oklahoma, because he has an opportunity to really make an impact. Maybe not be wide receiver one, but definitely be one of the top 3 options. So we're going to talk about today. Before we do that, as always, though, make sure you guys are joining the discussion, jumping in the comments below, and giving me your thoughts on what you guys think about the transfer commitment of Jer'Michael Carter. Also, remember, go check out Bagman Beverages, the Game Day Water. If you want to support NIL in a meaningful way, but be able to get a product that you can show off and utilize, go get some water. I have it here. I drink it all the time. It's electrolyte, great for if you're going to Norman. It's going to be a hot day. So go check them out over there. Helps Oklahoma land these recruits. All or a portion of the funds go towards NIL. But the Oklahoma Sooners, they got a commitment from Jer'Michael Carter, the transfer wide receiver from McNeese State. And this was a big deal because you brought in Giovanni Gibson this offseason and ended up, I think it was something broken in his leg or something like that, or it was a fracture. And he's out for at least the summer, fall camp, maybe can be back at some point earlier in the season. But if you're Oklahoma and you saw your luck last year, I don't think you can rely on him being able to come back. So you needed to go out there and find somebody else that could be a playmaker for you. And that's what they found in Jer'Michael Carter, who is a 6'4", 192-pound sophomore with 2 years of eligibility and a red shirt if he wants to use it for Oklahoma. Originally coming from Kentwood, Louisiana. So I was a little shocked that maybe LSU didn't try to get involved here. Maybe they feel really good with their wide receiver core. But this came down between Vanderbilt, Baylor, and Oklahoma. And you see Emmett Jones, Brent Venables, and this staff be able to come out and get a win here. Now, last season had 37 receptions, 537 yards, and 3 touchdowns with the 14.5-yard average. One of the things that I think is really important about Jer'Michael Carter and what he's going to be able to bring to the Sooners is he's going to bring size, and he's going to bring athleticism with that size. And I think that's something that Oklahoma was missing here. So, you look at the roster, you look at a lot of the guys that are here, like a Deion Burks, who's 5'9", KJ Daniels, 5'9". You've got Jacob Jordan, 5'9". You've got Zion Kearney, who's 6'1", and you've got guys returning like Zion Kearney, who's 6'1", Ivan Carrion, who is 6'6". But if you're Oklahoma, I really feel like you needed to continue to build some depth because you don't want to continue to throw out a Zion Raggins, who's 5'8", as one of your starting wide receivers all season long. Zion Raggins is good. I think he has potential to have a great career here at Oklahoma. No offense to him, but he's not a top 3 wide receiver in this room. And so bringing in a guy with Jer'Michael Carter, it gives you a little bit more size. And when you get a guy like Giovanni Gibson back or even Jaden Gibson, I really hope Jaden Gibson comes back. Now Oklahoma will all of a sudden have 3 or 4 guys over that 6'4" mark, and you're going to have weapons downfield for John Mateer. And that's the other thing. For as good as John Mateer is, it was very vital for Oklahoma to be able to have talented wide receivers that have experience, that can run routes, because that's, I think, one of the things that really killed Oklahoma last season when you started to see a lot of these wide receivers in these rooms go down. Oklahoma did not have wide receivers that were experienced in their route running, and then you match that up with an inexperienced quarterback in his first year of starting, who the Oklahoma Sooners broke in fall camp when they threw the farm at him. Yeah, this is what you get. You get a 6-6 season with one of the worst offenses in college football. And so to prevent that repeat, you've got to go out there. You've got to pay. And I really like this move because Oklahoma got a guy with multiple years of eligibility. This isn't going to be a guy that's going to be one and done at Oklahoma. You can get a couple years out of him and really try to grow and develop him as a player, maybe potentially put him in the NFL, but then maybe you don't have to go recruit as many high school guys right away to replace that depth. So I think Oklahoma did a phenomenal job here. This was a guy that was even wanted by Tennessee. So he was wanted by other big time SEC programs, Power Four programs. And for Oklahoma to be able to go out there and capture a win like this late in the cycle, when a lot of people thought Oklahoma didn't have any more money because you spent a lot of it on Jacob Michael or Jaden Ott, you kind of shut up those haters. And so you look at what this rotation is going to look like, maybe for the first game for the Oklahoma Sooners this year. I would imagine Elijah Thomas is going to get a lot of run. But you look at Jer'Michael Carter and you look at Deion Burks being your 1 and your 2. Maybe you can flip-flop them a little bit. Deion Burks on top, Jer'Michael Carter at the 2. But these are going to be your top 2 wide receivers until Javonte Gibson gets back and until Jaden Gibson gets back and we see what Jaden Gibson is actually capable of. And that means there's a lot of room in here for some of these other wide receivers to step up. Like, I think this is a breakout year for Zion Kearney. For Oklahoma to want to retain Zion Kearney after this season, he needs to go out there and show everybody why he was a top, I think it was a 100 player in that recruiting class. He needs to show everybody that. He needs to show everybody that athleticism and that size and that frame and being able to go up there and win those 50-50 balls. Ivan Carrion, this was a guy that a lot of teams wanted, right? And at 6'6", I think you have a lot of hopes that Ivan Carrion can be a really good outside threat for you. So can he develop into that wide receiver that I think a lot of fans wanted? And then Zion Ragens and KJ Daniels, what are they going to be, right? Can they really form into these slot wide receivers that you're going to need after Deion Burks moves on? But additionally, the question is Oklahoma done? Like, is this going to be it? Is this the last move? And I don't think it is, because Oklahoma still has a guy like Keon Brown in their back pocket, who I just continue to say, make it work, figure it out, get Keon Brown to Norman, figure out the grades. I'm sure you can do that, Jim Nagy, but Keon Brown is an incredible talent, a guy that committed to Oklahoma in 2023. And I would imagine if Oklahoma really wanted to take him, they could land him tomorrow. And then, you look at some of the other guys like an Isaiah Satenga that Oklahoma got out of the portal. Like, I think there's a lot of high hopes that he could be, one of those top 3 wide receivers for Oklahoma, or even in the top 5. This wide receiver room is definitely talented, but I think there's although they've been able to prove it somewhere else, there's unproven ability here at Oklahoma. And so fans are holding their breath saying, wrap these guys up in bubble wrap, because we need them to be healthy when week 1 comes around. So join the discussion. Jump in the comments below. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that like and hit that subscribe button. See y'all next time.